Hi, welcome to the first session of Cook Along Live for this block. Today we're going to make a salt and chili chicken. So let's get started. So in your pack or what you've got at home, you should have a pepper, an onion, an egg, chicken. You'll have rice wine vinegar, soy sauce, garlic powder, chili flakes, Chinese 5-spice, and garlic and corn flour. What we're going to first start off to do is we're going to chop up the veg, and then we're going to put that into a bowl. So if you just chop up the onion and the pepper, it doesn't have to be exact, it doesn't have to be even that finely chopped, because it's all just going into the pan anyway and getting served with the chicken. So just like we did last time, we go down, we peel the onion fully, I'm just taking the outer bit off, so you're left with just the white part of the onion left. Just a little bit. So yeah, just keep this, and it should just peel off quite easily. I mean, I'm not showing you doing it easily, but it should. And that's all the peelings. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to chop down. So you're going to chop all the way down to half it. And then as soon as you half it, then all you're going to do is you're going to cut slight slats into the onion, but not all the way through. And then you're just going to chop the other direction. So you chop one direction, then the other direction, making sure obviously your hands are always behind the knife, and if you can, have your knuckles so you're holding it like a claw, and then you just put that into the bowl, and then we'll just do the same here, and then the end one just chop up, put into the bowl. You're going to do that with the other half. So again, cutting down in one direction, and then the other direction, and then just kind of chop up that. Okay, so that's the onion done. With the pepper, you just want it to be in like strips, thin strips. So we're going to chop round the pepper. We only want the flesh, we don't want the seeds. So just chopping round. That's obviously can go into the food waste. And then we're just left with the pepper, which you're just going to cut into like strips like that. And then just put it into the bowl like so. This is quite a straightforward recipe this week. It's a really good one for kids, and if you have takeaways quite a lot, kind of the way I'm kind of focusing this cook along block is like it's takeaway classics. So this week we're doing salt and chili chicken, obviously, and then next week we will do carbonara, spaghetti carbonara. So we're going to actually only use half the pepper because it does make quite a lot. And then you're just going to, you can keep the pepper and make it into a snack maybe. I'm going to put this into the food waste and then we'll come back and we'll chop up the chicken. Okay, so now that our veg has been done. We're now going to move on to the chicken. So depending on how much you're cooking this, or how many you're cooking for, you're just going to chop up the chicken into kind of strips, like similar to what you would do for like chicken fitas. So you would just go down. Maybe it's slightly bigger than chicken fitas, just so then you kind of have chunks. I'm going to do one more on this. So, and kind of what you're going to do with the chicken is you're going to cut it, and then we're going to coat it in some flour and some egg, and then after that we're going to put it into the air fryer. So just make sure to wash your hands once you've obviously cut up the chicken, to stop cross-contamination. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare the chicken for the air fryer. So what you're going to do is you're going to just crack an egg into one bowl. Make sure there's no shell. And then all you're going to do with that egg is you're just going to whisk it, beat it, sorry. So just beat it till it's kind of like all mixed in, the yolk and the white. And just leave that fork in there just now because you'll need it for maybe a bit later on. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add corn flour into the next bowl. Now corn flour does go everywhere for those who are neat freaks. So it's like icing sugar, it just goes everywhere when you start using it. Okay, so corn flour in. On top of the corn flour, you're going to add a teaspoon of chili powder. You're going to add a teaspoon of chili powder. You're going to add a teaspoon of Chinese 5 spice. Half a teaspoon of Chinese 5 spice, sorry. And you're going to add the garlic powder along with your salt and pepper. So the garlic powder, you're just adding a teaspoon. That's a bit more for good luck. And then we'll add our chili powder, which I'm just going to go and get. So then we'll add our chili powder. Kind of add as much chili powder as you kind of feel that you can handle. And then all you're going to do is you're going to mix it in. Start off with. So just mix it up. And then you're going to add in your salt and pepper. Again, it's kind of up to you how much pepper and salt you add in. Because it is a salt and chili chicken, you kind of want you won't have a good amount. So just add your pepper in. More salt than pepper. It should be a tablespoon of salt to like a teaspoon of pepper. Then you're going to mix it all back in. Just mix it all in. Make sure all the salt and pepper is kind of really mixed into the mixture. And then you're ready to coat it. So we're going to just open up one of our air fry boxes. And what the first thing we're going to do is we're going to dip it into the egg. So you dip the chicken into the egg, And then what you're going to do is you're going to put it into the flour until it's kind of all coated in. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to transfer it into the air fryer tray. And you're going to keep on doing that for all the pieces of chicken. So just what my tip would be is keep one hand for the egg and then one hand for the flour. It just makes it a little bit less messy on your hands. So coat it in the egg, transfer it into the flour, and then just keep doing it. It depends on what kind of air fryer you have, or if you're not using the air fryer, you can put it into an oven. Just remember to preheat your oven at about 200 degrees, and then just keep an eye on it whilst it's actually cooking as well. If you are using an oven, just obviously same kind of thing as what we're doing here. You're just putting it, you're still doing the chicken coating. You just, rather than putting it into an air fryer tray, you'll just put it onto a lined baking tray. Actually, it doesn't even have to be lined, but just saves you the washing up if it is. And then you're just going to keep on doing it. With this one, at least we know kind of what's in the salt and chili. A lot of times at the Chinese's, it uses MSG, which is kind of like a salt, kind of not substitute, but it kind of gets used as well as salt to make things taste nice and kind of make you want more. So at least with this, you know what's in it. It's all stuff you've got around the house, and actually, if you do it, you can batch cook it as well, so you can kind of make loads of it. I would say if you are wanting to make a big batch, oven's probably your best bet rather than the air fry, just because depending on what air fryer you've got, it can be quite fiddly for capacity. So what you're going to do is you're just going to keep on putting it in. I mean, you can do more than one chicken or more than one chicken piece at once by coating it into the egg and then just obviously transfer it. This doesn't take that long to do, and it won't make it as crispy as like if you had a shredded chicken or chicken nugget. It won't make it as crispy as that, but I mean, because you put it back into the pan afterwards as well, if it's not crispy then, you can crisp it up in the pan. So it's not too bad. So keep coating it. Obviously, we're getting stuck in. We'll just put it all in. And we just mix it all in. It's also, if you do, like I have just mixed all my hands together now, but if you do separate, it means that the flour doesn't get as clumpy, which can help the look of the dish as well. But I mean, it's all going to be eaten anyway, so I don't know if you really care about the look of the dish. Although it does, if it does look better, it's more likely more people will try it. So what we've done, all the chicken, just make sure it's got a nice coating of flour in it, because A, that flour has all the seasoning, but also B, it means then it won't all stick together in the air fryer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wash my hands and then I'm going to talk you through what we're going to do on how to cook it. Okay, so now that my hands are all washed, what we're going to do is we're going to put it into the air fryer. So what we're going to do is, before it goes into the air fryer, just spray it with some oil. I would also kind of mix it up slightly just so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the air fryer. When I did this as a practice before, obviously here, it all stuck to the air fryer tray at the bottom. So just kind of make sure it's fully coated. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put the air fryer on. You're going to put it in for 180 degrees. So put it at 180 degrees for about 15 minutes. Now, that's that obviously cooking, the chicken cooking. Whilst the chicken's cooking, you're obviously going to do your washing up, but you also can kind of look at what you're going to use for the next bit, which is using our pan. So what we're going to use is we're going to use rice wine vinegar, we're going to use soy sauce, we're going to use chili flakes, and then we're going to use garlic as well. Now, you will have garlic cloves in your pack. If you are using garlic cloves, you're just kind of chopping it up, rough chopping, about 4 or 5 cloves. You're just crushing it and then chopping it up. I swear by this. I use lazy garlic all the time whilst I cook. It's so much easier, time efficient, and it actually allows you to not have your hands stinking of garlic all the time. So I use that all the time. What we're going to do to start off with is we're going to put some oil into the pan. Not right now, probably when we've got about 7 minutes left on the clock of the chicken. You're going to put oil in the pan. You're going to put your veg in first. And then as soon as the veg has had kind of like a couple of minutes, you're going to add the garlic and then your liquids and your chili. What I would do, I always swear by this as well, is that you kind of make the kind of mixture before you put it in, so you're just chucking it in rather than you're guessing. So with rice vinegar, you're going to do 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar. You're going to do 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Again, it can be dark soy sauce or it can be light soy sauce. I'm using dark just because it's what I've got in the cupboard. And then you're going to do the 5 garlic cloves, which is always a guessing kind of when it comes to garlic. What we're going to use. And then with the chili flakes, it's kind of up to you how much chili flakes you put in or how little. It's just kind of based on your own spices. And then once you get that, you've kind of got your pan mixture. Just mix it up into kind of a garlicky chili sauce. And you've got that ready to add into your pan. So now you've got that prepped. I would then do your washing up and then come back and we'll see what our chicken looks like in about a couple of minutes. Okay, so that's about 7 minutes to go. So all we're going to do with the air fryer, if you're doing it in the oven, I would maybe switch it around. So like just flip them over. You're just going to mix it up in the oven, in the air fryer. Just mix it up so it's not all sticking together. And then you're going to actually start on the pan. So just turn our pan on. You're going to spray a little bit of oil on the pan. And then you're going to add in the veg. You kind of want to wait until the veg is kind of soft, and that's when we add all the other stuff in. So just make sure to heat up the oil before we start. The more you cook it, the more the flavour comes out of the onions and then later on in the garlic. So you're just going to chuck it in. So all you've got in the pan just now is your pepper and your onion. And just kind of let it cook slightly. When that's cooking, I'll talk about kind of what you can serve this with, because it is just salt and chili chicken on its own. You can serve it with some rice. I also would say I'm not the best at cooking rice on the hobs, but microwave rice is just as good. It is slightly dearer, but for time, it is just as good. I also personally would maybe serve it with some curry sauce as well. So, I mean, it's not the healthiest, and it's definitely not healthy, but it's always quite nice because it's quite a dry texture you'll get from the chicken. So just I'm just going to put our lights on because it's starting to get a bit dark here. So Alexa, turn on kitchen lights. Alexa, turn on kitchen lights. So our veg is starting to cook away. Kind of when you see it go brown, that's when you kind of know that it's now to move on to the next step. Or your next step being to put in your kind of your chili and your garlic and your soy sauce and your white rice wine vinegar. So just keep stirring that. And also just keep checking your chicken as well, because air fryers get up to heat really quickly, so it doesn't actually take that long. When you know the chicken's cooked, the chicken it'll be white inside, and if you have a thermometer to hand, a meat thermometer or a temp probe, it should be over at least 75 degrees within you know it's all cooked from the center of the chicken. So just make sure it's cooked before you put it into the pan. Just make sure it's cooked in the air fryer fully. So when your veg is starting to get soft, it's starting to brown. Obviously, the smaller you've got your veg, the quicker it will cook. It doesn't really matter if it's crusty or crunchy when you're actually eating it. It's all kind of based on your own preference and texture. So yeah, just keep stirring it. And then what you're going to do now that kind of the onion is starting to go brown, meaning it's getting cooked and it's softening, is you're going to add in your kind of your liquid and your garlic and your chili. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to mix it all in. Sorry, the chili just got the back of my throat. Cool. It will evaporate the soy sauce. That's not a problem at all because we're not looking for like a saucy mix. It's kind of dry, but that should flavour your veg. I'm just going to turn that heat down. And then let's just check. We've got a couple of minutes left in our chicken. So that is our chicken cooked. It didn't take long at all. Again, it's the more you or the smaller you cut your chicken, the less time it will take to cook. So if you are going to do what I would do is actually take that off the heat now that you know it's kind of all cooked. If you are going to do rice, this is when I would put your rice into the microwave, or obviously you'd have started cooking your rice if you're just doing it on the hob. Okay, so that is the chili or your chicken kind of all cooked. and crispy. Now that's cooked, what we're going to do is we're going to put this back onto the heat, our veg. Function. Okay. And just to kind of get it back at temperature. And then we're going to add in our chicken. Now, when you're at this stage, you can add in more soy sauce if you want. Kind of just make sure it's all kind of mixed in. You'll see some bits are crispy, some bits aren't. It doesn't really matter as long as it's cooked and it's at temp. It's all mixed in. So just kind of heat that up for the last bit. Whilst that's heating up, I'm just going to serve my rice. Kind of mix it all in. Make sure the chicken gets a bit of the garlic on it, because obviously that's got quite a lot of flavour. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to put some of the chicken onto your bowl or your plate. Take some of that veg. Now that is your salt and chili chicken. What I would do is obviously, like I said before, I would add some curry sauce on it. And that is your salt and chili chicken with rice and curry sauce. I will see you next week for spaghetti carbonara. Yeah, see you then.